All right. Good morning, Australia, New Zealand. Those of you way over in the future in the other time zone. Good afternoon, most of North America, and good early evening to those of you off in Europe, Britain, France, Germany. I don't know, Belgium. What else we got? Norway, Sweden, all those other countries that are kind of getting into the mid to early evening out there. Laptop Hound here, ready to kick off the Boxing Day show. Welcome all in. Just Safari. We got Nick here. We got Andy. And we've got Pops Don Gore. Yeah, Spore just finishing off his show. Should be in here anytime soon. Maybe he's here already. Maybe I just missed it. I don't know. No, he's still chatting away about that John Franco card. I guess that John Franco card must be pretty good. Well, welcome all in, guys. It, of course, is Boxing Day here in Canada. So still kind of the holidays. I think the Commonwealth countries, UK, Australia, Canada, I think they all have Boxing Day. Andy, I don't know. You can confirm for me if you have Boxing Day there in the UK. But yeah, welcome all in. Boxing Day here. And Spore has brought the crew over from OOTP Developments. Thank you, Spore. What a day we have. What a show we have. What an exciting tournament we have. Woo. Yeah, we got some big stuff happening. So the holiday is still underway, as I said, here in Canada. It is Boxing Day, and lots of things going on. And of course, as Spore mentioned on his show, I'm kind of keeping track as his voluntary secretary to track some of the cards that you guys are requested a couple weeks ago. I sent him a list of about like 50 requests, and now we're already up to 32 on form number 2. So if there is a card you guys would like to see in the treasure trove, by all means, fill out this form that I'm going to post here. There it is once. Here it is twice. Checking his list. Spore's like the Santa Claus of OOTP because he checks his list once, he checks his list twice, he sees who's naughty and nice in the OOTP community, and he throws out a gift once in a while with these community cards. So there you go. Feel free to fill it out, and I will send that list off to him. And hopefully we'll see some of these community cards in OOTP. All right, Boxing Day in Canada, again, is kind of like our Black Friday, where we go and we line up in stores at 5 in the morning to get into Walmart, Best Buy, Circuit City, Future Shop, Visions. Well, wait a minute. We don't have Circuit City, and we don't have Future Shop anymore. But yeah, I remember lining up 5 o'clock in the morning because I wanted that one TV that they had 2 of in store for their door crasher sales. And it was cold. It was cold lining up. Now, of course, with online shopping, who lines up anymore? I'd be surprised if anyone lines up. And not only that, what's up with, we used to have Boxing Day blowout sales. Now it's Boxing Week blowout sales. And in fact, it's almost like as soon as Halloween ends and American Thanksgiving ends, it's like Boxing month blowout sales. They just continue on. So it's lost a little bit of the magic, having to get up at 5 and start your car and get to the electronics store. So I don't know if you guys have experienced that in the past, but they start way too early and they go on forever. It'd be like, and then January 1st, it's like, oh, we got post Boxing Day or post Christmas sales. And then, of course, it's Valentine's and Cyber Monday and all that kind of stuff. Speaking of which, one book that a viewer recommended that I definitely want to get a copy of. I heard Spore talking about some audiobooks and some books. I still have to read my Big Fella. I got a book called The Big Fella, The Story of Babe Ruth. Apparently, it's one of the best stories about Babe Ruth out there. So I'm eager to get started reading that. And this is the other one that a viewer recommended, Baseball When the Grass Was Real. So yeah, I want to check that one out. Baseball from the 20s to the 40s, told by the men who played it. And I think this was on the OOTP streams over the last couple of days. Someone requested a card to be shown, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of a strange card to request. Where did that come from? And the viewer said, well, I'm reading a book, When the Grass is Real, and it's a really good book. So yeah, Bob Feller, Billy Herman, Bucky Waters, Cool Papa Bell, Spud Chandler, Will Ferrell, Wes Ferrell, not Will Ferrell. That's the Step Brothers guy. Charlie Gehringer. Yeah, so apparently a lot of stories from some of the guys that played the game. So check it out if you're looking for a good baseball book. I don't know. I never smoked AstroTurf. Well, I wouldn't recommend it. So, guys, we got a lot to talk about today, including within hours. We are a few hours away from the most anticipated event of the century, of the decade, of the year. The most anticipated event of the OOTP recent history. How about that? There we go. We've got the Spore/Warbot Invitational that's about to fire off in a few hours. And we're going to talk about the teams. If you missed the draft on the VOD, you can check it out. You can see the process that these 8 managers went through drafting their players. We did that on Saturday. Yesterday, Warbot and I came on for about an hour and a half, and we talked about the teams. So we'll quickly go over them again. And we'll also give you a chance to win some packs, 10 standard packs on the line. Not right now, but a little bit later on, I will post the link to this Google form. If you entered yesterday, I apologize. I had to cancel all those entries because I did not leave. And GT Sundown DM'd me and said, Lap, there's no space for PT username and your Twitch username. And I'm like, oh, it's Christmas Day? Can you forgive me? So there were only 8 entries. But if you did enter yesterday, you're going to have to enter again, fresh with this Google form. And basically, who do you think is going to win the invitational? Aster, Warbot, Dallas, Spore, McNoosh, Isadafo, Hamlet, Kidneys, Snailman. Who will finish second? Who's going to finish third? And my tracker for third place is whoever loses to the eventual winner in the semifinals is my third place finisher. And then who finishes fourth? The loser to the tournament runner-up will be the fourth place. And then one tiebreaker. How many games do you think the final series will go? Will it be a sweep in 4, or will we see a 7-game series all the way to the bitter end? And of course, Spore mentioned that he's going to be broadcasting kind of like the red zone, kind of like, going around the league, checking in on the different scores because he's part of the tournament. So he has access to the file because he's in the tournament. So he's going to be showing you as this plays out. So best of 7. If you missed it, this is a best of 7 where we're playing in the Kansas City Royal Stadium of 1978. It's a 1987 run environment, so a defensive era. And all the cards in the player pool were available except for a select few, including the Tournament Batch 5 perfect cards, the PTCS perfect cards, and the PTMS Diamond Plus cards, because to participate in this tournament, you have to own the cards. And they thought it would be, a little fair because not everyone has access to these cards. So let's leave a few of them out. So all the other cards were eligible. The player's card can only be taken once. So whoever drafts the bronze Aussie, only that combatant can get that card. However, someone else could draft the perfect Aussie. So you can draft the same player, it just has to be a different card. So we'll take a look at the teams a little bit later, and then I'll release the Google form there for you guys to fill out and have a chance to win the 10 packs. If for some reason it's still tied, even after the tiebreaker, then we will do a wheel spin to determine the winner of those eligible. But this is Survivor style. So to continue on, you have to get the first one right. So you have to start off by predicting the winner, then second place, third, fourth, and so on. All right. Looking forward to who you guys all predict is going to win. What's going on in the chat here? Let's see what's going on in the chat. Cavacom is here. Good to see you, Cavacom. Rob Deere and Headlights. Warbot is in the house. Blue Tester, Fussmucker. Yeah, you know, we've been known to get into some fruit throwing endeavors in Loblaws. And we don't have Loblaws in Western Canada, Fussmuckers. We have Superstore or Extra Foods, which is basically under the thumb of the parent company Loblaws. But yeah, Eastern Canada has Loblaws. We have Superstore out here in the West. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, well, Tessuigi would definitely love that card. He'd be a good in the rotation with Tony Suck as the catcher. Bob blah blah and Tony Suck. All right, what else do we got going on? Oh yeah, we've got where is it here? We got to give some packs away in the form of a bounty tournament. So if you guys want to get involved in a bounty, I don't have the anchor of Charles dragging me down today. Charles isn't here probably anyway. Charles probably isn't in the chat. I don't have him dragging me down. So I think maybe I have a chance of winning the bounty. Maybe. Because I'm going to draft quickly and set my rosters appropriately before the timer runs out. So I'm going to try this one without any extra help, just to see if that was the reason why we keep losing. Charles is off busy preparing for his tournament, so I didn't want to bug him to come on today to talk about the treasure trove. Plus, we got a lot to talk about, and he's in the zone. He wants to win this tournament badly. There's 8 fierce competitors, and they each want to win. So I didn't want to distract him by asking him to come on the stream today. So there are the draft rules at the bottom. 10 packs to give away, 5 for whoever knocks my team out, and a 5 extra pack bonus if you win the tournament by taking the deal. So the tournament is the double elimination. So whoever knocks me completely out of the tournament, not whoever beats me first, but whoever knocks me completely out will get 5 packs. And if you win the tournament and you've taken the deal, 5 extra packs for you. Rules: only starting pitchers on the card and catchers. Little bit of a twist. That's it. Simple. They have to have their primary position on the card as catcher and starting pitchers. Now, you can draft two-way pitchers. That's fine, as long as their primary position on the front of the card is a starting pitcher. So that's all I want to see in your lineup is the starting pitchers and catchers. If you want to draft like Charles does sometimes, 4 or 5 catchers, go ahead, because there's probably some catchers out there that you can utilize in other positions. Hint, hint, hint. Okay. Declare that you're in the chat. If you are going to get involved, please declare that you're in so I know that you qualify. Just put in and the team name that you're using. And 10 out of 16. So it's filling up quickly. 10 out of 16 entrants. Make that 11. So who do we got? We got the Wolves are in. Tiger Cub, good to see you. Yeah, I don't have to change the rules today. Don't cut the D-Block Dragon. Not at all. Not at all. Going solo. You know, it's usually when I have someone helping me, it's like, oh, okay, we got to change this rule and this rule. But no change in rules today. Only starters and catchers. If you draft someone else, you got to put them on the reserve or you got to bench them. And we're playing in, where are we playing here? Let me drag this over to my main screen. Modern settings, modern strategy. DH is on. And Southwest University Park. Little bit of favoritism towards the home runs. Okay. Cavicom's going to show us how it's done. Oh, look at Boxing Day gift for Cavicom with King Kelly. Okay, starting pitchers and catchers. Jack Clements can only catch, so I'm not worried about grabbing him. And I don't have a lot of choices here. Glavin, Brown, and Clements. So I'm going to go Glavin and Kevin Brown. Again, the rules are scrolling across the bottom there, starting pitchers and catchers. If the tournament's not full, it's ID 129, the double elimination ID 129. Oh, then it sucks if you can't draft King Kelly. That's right. He is not listed as a catcher, at least not that King Kelly. Yeah, Mike Grady plays first and third. He's definitely on the team. I need that. There's got to be a catcher that plays shortstop. That's going to be the tough one. Shortstop and center field. And let's go with starting pitcher Verdell Mathis. Mathis is good, I heard. I heard you guys say Mathis is good. I hope it's this Mathis. Russell Martin. Ooh, is this the Russell Martin that can pitch? Oh, look at this. He can pitch. I can put him in the bullpen with that BABIP of 125. Oh, yeah. Russell, you are my long relief mop-up guy. Russell Martin. Where did you go? Right up there. And I guess Adley Rushman. Can you play anything? Oh, Adley can play second, third, left. Oh, I'm taking a live catcher here. Beautiful. Well, you never know. I might have more catchers than pitchers, but yeah, I probably won't need him. But it's Russell Martin. He's not going to give up a hit or a single, at least. Jim Perry and Lou Brown. What can you play? Catcher and first base. Okay, not a priority. Wow. This is odd. On the whole screen, I've got one starter and one catcher. So my choice is simple. I would not have thought that was possible that you only get one starter. Almost had to bench someone there. Next up, let's go George Winter and Terry Larkin. Your first diamond round at 0? No starters or catchers in the first diamond round? Seriously, with 12 cards, not one starter or catcher? I could see if it was a 6-card choice, but 12 cards, that's unlucky. But thanks, Mr. Audit, because look what I have here. I've got no starters and no catchers. Thank you. So I guess it does happen where you have no starters or catchers, and this is proof of it. So I've got to bench a couple people. Let's just give some love to Andrew McCutcheon and Garrett Whitlock. Seriously, no starters on here? Okay, well, before I forget, McCutcheon to the reserve and Whitlock to the reserve. Transaction, send to reserve. Okay, next up, Gabby Hartnett. What do you play? Just catcher. Ramon Hernandez. Oh, you Darvish, you can play first, second, and third. You're on the team. Again, only one starter here. So Ramon or Gabby? Let's go Gabby. Mickey Lolich can only pitch. Kaiser Wilhelm? Oh, you can only pitch. Brad Penny. Any live starters here? No. So it's going to be the Kaiser and Verlander. No, maybe not Verlander, unless he can play a position. No. Maybe Mickey Lolich. Yeah, I think your hope of getting one, Rob, is someone that is a live pitcher that maybe can play. I was hoping there'd be some two-way, like there's no two-way players here, like the NEL players. Maybe this tournament doesn't offer up a lot of NEL players. That would have been nice. Cactus and Roscoe. And again, these are just fun, imperfect drafts. Whatever. If we don't have a full roster, it's our own little sandbox that we get to use every once in a while. And at least we have catchers. Always the complaint, you can never get a catcher. I think next time the way to do this is catchers and relief pitchers, because relief pitchers give you a little more flexibility, I think, positional wise. Starters are a little bit tougher. Pat Malone and Slick Castleman. And it'll be interesting to see whose team of a few Jim Unknowns is able to win the tournament, because Jim Unknowns are going to come into play probably. Oh, winner. Look at this. Did you guys get yourself a Dartley Cooper? Who can play first, third, short, left, center, and right? Dolly. Well, that is a difference maker right there for sure. Sam Trott can play second and right. Okay, Sam Trott's a useful guy too. How about Shea Langelier? First, second, third, left, and right. Okay, first, second, third, left, and right. So Shea Langelier is better than Sam Trott. Yeah, Harry Lord. Did anyone get anyone get the Lord card? Because that's another winner. Okay, Langelier and that guy, Brad Asmuth, catcher. Sorry, Jody Reed cannot take you today. I think I only have two choices here. L and Brad. Oh, Nixie. Come on, Nixie. Second, left, and right. Okay, Nixie is in. And round 13, two cards. No live starting pitchers. I don't know if I saw too many of them today. Okay, Patrick Bailey, first, second, third, left, and right. Patrick Bailey is probably going to be one of them. And Ed Correa, nope. Monty, you know Monty Ward, that's for sure. And Jose Molina. I think I got to take Jose just for his catching ability. How many pitchers do I have? Oh, I got 15. I'm set on pitchers. So let's go Jose Molina. Connie Rector. That'd be nice. This is one situation where I want a Connie Rector. All right, an ad break is going to kick in, so I'm going to continue to fine tune this very quickly. because I do want these guys. See, Charles, this is how you do it. This is how you speed things up. This is how you go through and you set everyone to two-way players here. Go to the very first guy. Who's first? Kevin Brown, two-way. Here we go. We're going to get all these guys in. Jim Perry, Nixie. Definitely got to get Cooper in there. And you. Cactus. Mickey. This is going to be fun. Those of you that got one or two of those Cooper light cards. Submit. Woo. Okay, let me exit out. Let's make sure the timer is not kicked off. Where is it? Where is it? Where did the tournament go? Double elimination. I don't see it on my screen. We broke the game, chat. Game is broken. Where are we? Okay, good. Good. We got our two-way players in before the tournament fired off. Now we got to go look at. See, look at this. 8 players on the tournament. I've got everything except a catcher, first, second, third, left, right, everything except the shortstop. But I know that Cooper card could play short. Not left field. No. You go short. There we go. All right. Which of you guys can play left field? Who can play left? Adley Rushman can play left. So we're going to put him in left because I'm sure I have a few that can play first base. Slick, no. And Larkin, no. All right, so I need better submit the roster there. We need a first base and, oh, where did you go? Cooper, why are you refusing to play short? I demand you play short. Mathis, first. Oh no, Mathis is center field. Rushman, left. Okay, this is shaping up nice here. Catcher. So I need a first baseman. Oh, did McCutcheon sneak back in? And I think Nixie, right? Yeah, no Nixie. Go back over here. Is this the guy that snuck in? Yeah. Whitlock. Go over. And McCutcheon. Just to be safe, because I don't want to mess this up. We want to bench you guys for 50 days, just in case they throw you back in there. Thank you. Thank you for pointing that out, because I probably would have missed that. Bench for 50 days. Mr. Audit, you were the last one drafting. So yeah, that's the thing. You got to be careful of. You got to go and you don't want to set everything and then lose it all. So right now it still shows as signing up. So you're still good to make changes now as long as you just submit it. But once that 14-minute timer comes on, anything you do after that probably is not going to save until you exit out and come back in. Yeah, see, it's messing this up a bit too. Not sure why. Doesn't want to put all these guys in. Maybe because Glavin, Brown, Mathis, Larkin, and Perry. All right, let's go to position. First base. Dartley, Lou Brown. Lou Brown can play first. Second baseman, Shea Langoliers is my only second baseman. Although, doesn't give him any ratings, but he's still eligible. Third base, Cooper, McGray, and Grady. Okay, Grady can play third. Shortstop is just Cooper. Left field, Mathis and Cooper and Rushman. I need a right fielder. Who is eligible for right? Now we got to go through this. Bailey can play right. Bailey. This is the tough part. So first, second, third, short. So I just need a DH, and any of you guys can DH. So let's look at your batting ratings. Tom Glavin, welcome. DH. All right, let's try that. Exit back out. Two bench, a perfect, two diamonds. Are you saying that's the only eligible cards you had, Mr. Audit, was 2, 6, 8, 9 cards? See, it's weird. It's not showing me that on the main screen. Let's go back to perfect drafts. Still in the set rosters. Okay, let's go back in. Oh, we had to bench those guys. So I have 24 of 26. You've got 6, 8, 9. Ooh, you've got 17. Okay, did it save? Let's check it out. Yes. Okay, good. We're good to go. Let's see if it gives us a Yu Darvish is backing up a lot of positions. Chess had to bench 3 players. I'm pretty happy with how things turned out. Got a full lineup. Not quite full reserve lineup because I don't have a second shortstop, but hey, at least I have one shortstop. I just don't know if it impacts. What do you guys do you think it impacts who's a starter and who's a reliever? I know Charles liked to go to a one-man rotation. So I think we're going to do that when it fires off. Let's see. Usually I have no time to spare. Now we got tons of time to spare here. Is it fired off yet? Nope. And welcome all in, guys. We're going to go through the invitational rosters in just a little bit and then throw out the 10-pack giveaway form for you guys to fill out. All right, we got to be mere moments. We got to be pretty quick to this thing firing off. So again, five packs for the team that completely eliminates me from the tournament, and 5 packs for whoever wins the tournament as long as you've met the requirements. So if you didn't bench those ineligible players, make sure you do that. It was 0 at 16, so we should have a full tournament of deal takers. There was no outsider in at the beginning of the tournament. All right, let's go back to the strategy. And let's take Bounty, that one there. Okay, we don't need slow hooks on anyone. We do want the matchups. So this is the advice I'm taking from Charles. This is what he recommended last time. We're going to steal quite a bit. Well, no, because we've got catchers now. We're not going to steal. No. Not with good catchers. Sack bunt. Oh, we got pitchers that can sack bunt. Boost those up a bit. Pitch around. Sure. No intentional walk. Hold runners. Infield in. Who is my catcher? Russell Martin. Do I want Russell Martin or do I want Benji Molina? Asmith, Hartnett, Martin, Molina. All right. Well, Molina, we're going to bring in. Okay, he's a defensive sub already. Okay, that's good. Yeah, exactly, GT. You want to wait until it fires off so you can double check your setup because you just never know. You could go in and go, wait a minute. I had all the right positional players in place and then it messed up once it fired off. So there it is. It's waiting. We're waiting for that to fire off. And the pop-up, yeah, the Spore pop-up, guys. Let's get that full. 27 more spots. Getting closer and closer to fire off. You can win a full perfect pack where every card in your perfect pack is a perfect card. 50-50 pull rate between the lives and the historicals. It's only 1,000 perfect points to enter, so why not? All right, well, since we have some time, who are my best hitters? Brown, Glavin, basically all my catchers should be in the top. Yes, they are. And Tom Glavin is a pretty good hitter, so he should be up one. Can Benji Molina? No, he can only catch. I'm feeling pretty confident about this, chat. I think we have a potential winner here. That Cooper card definitely was a good one to get. Okay, is it fired off? There it is. Okay, the timer is now set. So I recommend you go back in, take a look at your team, make sure it's set how you want, double check your list twice that players that are benched should be benched. Whitlock, McCutcheon are benched for me. The rotation, I am going to go to a one-man. And I don't want it to be Glavin, I don't think, because I want him to play his position. So let's go with let's go with George Winter. George Winter, you can go there. And everyone else is just going middle relief. With a lot of emergency starters here. I don't want George Winter pitching every game. There we go. Good to see you, Dr. Dynastic. Yes, Boxing Day up here in Canada, which is shop till you drop. Canadians never make sense. Like our sales are a day after Christmas. Like, what's up with that? Like, at least you guys in America, you have it a month before Christmas. We have ours a day after Christmas. So rather than buying Christmas presents for sale, we get to buy Christmas presents 364 days ahead of time for next year. More so, spend the money that you got for Christmas. That's probably the big marketing thing. Hey, you got money for Christmas? Well, look, we've got sales for you. And look at this. All my lineup is still set. I do not have to change any of that. If you're just tuning in, this is the draft where we only can take starting pitchers and catchers. And you got to try and construct your lineup doing that. And I have a full lineup other than a backup shortstop. This was the card that was magic for me. Starting pitcher that can play many positions. Spend those gift cards. All right. Am I missing anything else in chat? I don't think so. Okay. So again, the tournament is fired off. Let's take a quick look who the first round matchups are. Again, this is double elimination, so you need to lose 2 games before you're officially eliminated. So the Wolves and the baseball. We've got the Ghost Ships going up against the Red Shirts. The guys not named Todd going up against Spores Dashins. We've got Charles Escape from New York. Okay, I got to check. Charles get his lineup in time. Looks like it. He's got a pretty full lineup here too. Congratulations. Good stuff. We got the Gold Glovers going up against the Sports Desk. The Boise Taters up against the Winter from Wisconsin. We've got the Clowns going up against the Golden Girls. And I am going up against this team here, the Deja Vu. Deja Vu. Let's check out the Deja Vu. Yeah, looks like a bunch of starters there. How about their lineup? Did they get a full lineup? Ooh, pretty close. They got a shortstop. They got Jack Rowe. Congratulations, Deja Vu. That was a solid pickup. I mean, you don't have a pitcher playing shortstop. You got a guy that can actually hit playing shortstop. Oh, are you playing me? Am I one cut off here? Let's see. Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness. I thought I was playing Deja Vu. Woo, woo. Nothing against you, Mr. Audit, but that lineup looked pretty scary once I saw that they had a qualified shortstop. Okay. So the Deja Vu, sorry, GT Sundown, you get to face off against the Deja Vu. That looks like a scary, scary team there. Okay, let's check out Mr. Audits. Let's check out the Golden Girls. Because Mr. Audit tends to be able to make lemons or lemonade out of lemons. I think that's how that goes. He's got the 69 Cliff Lee. Charles will approve of that. And pretty good, considering you had to bench 7 or 8 players, Mr. Audit. Well done, just missing a shortstop. And a backup center fielder. So this draft, the criteria on this draft, I think, was pretty good. It very challenging, but at the same time allows you to get pretty close to a full lineup if you get a little bit of luck. All right, we'll check in on that later because I have to lose 2 games before I'm eliminated. So let's go back to the main screen. And happy Boxing Day. Happy day after Christmas. Happy holidays. Hope you guys are getting some time off of work. All right, the other tournament I want to talk about, the Laptop Daily. Thank you guys for those of you that have been entering every day. The Laptop Lower Level Leisure Lounge Daily. Yes, that is ready to be fired off. Ready to be fired off for another day. Actually, today's is already fired off. Let me just do something here quick. Let's go here and there, and there. All right. So with the Laptop Pound Lower Level Leisure Lounge, we've got a few new cards today in the Treasure Trove that are going to start showing up in that tournament. And again, awarding 20 packs to the monthly winner. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more tournaments before this gives us our winner for December. And then we're going to do it for all of January as well for this tournament. There may be a slight refresh. There may be a slight change of some of the rules for this tournament when the new refresh comes out. But we're going to do the cutoff in a few more days for the end of December. And then it'll be right at 0 again. So the Dodgers, the Hoosman's Dodgers, have a pretty good lead. They got 14 points right now. You get 4 points for finishing first, 3 for second, 2 for third, 1 for fourth. So there's still an opportunity for some teams to come back and take first place and those 20 standard packs. But even if you qualify, all you have to do is qualify. And right now we've got 67 teams that have finished in the top 4. So all 67 teams will get one entry into the 5-pack giveaway. So you got an extra chance there. So I've come second in 1. I've come fourth in 1. So I've got my 4 points there. It's good enough. Lap is currently in 14th place. But those Dodgers came second yesterday, which gave them those 3 points, which gave them a little more comfortable lead there. So yeah, get involved. It fires off about 11:30 Eastern every morning. It fills up usually by midnight Eastern each night. So if you have some empty slots, why not? It's only bronze and iron cards that you get to use. The LEs are turned on, so you have a chance to use some of the LEs and see how they play. And good luck. All right, we're going to take our break. Then we're going to go through very quickly and look at the 8 competitors in the Invitational that's going to fire off in under 3 hours' time. So back in 2 minutes. All right, we're back. And look what the hound brought in from the backyard. Charles, you must be pumped. You must be excited for this tournament about to kick off.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. I think it's the toughest tournament I've ever played, probably. I think unfortunately, we've got a bunch of strong teams, which means probably, it's going to be pretty even, and a lot of luck will be involved. But that's the way it goes in baseball too, in the playoffs, right?
Right. So what we're going to do is very quickly again show you the 8 rosters, and then I'm going to open up the contest form here. And 10 packs will be awarded on Thursday on the Hawk Report once we know the winner of the Invitational. So we've got 8 teams that were invited simply because 2, they've got a lot of cards and probably a lot of the high-end cards, and 1, because they're really, really good, competitive, successful managers, either in league play,
And
tournament play, or in both. So it's the first time anything like this has been done community-wise. OOTP has done something similar for their championship series where a couple managers have drafted a team. But this has 8 players. And on Saturday, we went through, and under 3 hours, we were able to draft teams for all these players. So, Charles, again, we talked about this yesterday. We're not going to spend a lot of time on each roster, but I do want to.
You know what we haven't done? You got my ratings on these. We haven't got your ratings. So I'm thinking we should go through. I'm just going to ask you to rate each roster as either naughty or nice.
Okay. Astor 31 on Saturday, the gang asked me who I thought was going to win. And on Saturday, on the day of the draft, I said Astor 31. One, because he's a great competitive manager. He's a successful manager with his Minneapolis. What's his nickname?
Millers.
Minneapolis. The what?
Minneapolis Millers, and I think he's our E6 representative too. So
right.
I think he's definitely gonna turn up and be strong.
So it's kind of like, if it's a baseball game and you've got all the best players in the game and you say, Lap, who's going to hit the home run to win the game? I'm going to go with Babe Ruth most of the time. And that's what I think of Astor. Like Astor is like the Babe Ruth. He can hit it out of the park. He was my guess. So this is definitely going to be a nice roster. So there you go. Take a quick look at who he has on his roster. Charleston was the first overall pick. So of all the cards in the game eligible, Astor went with Oscar Charleston, and his very last pick, he was able to get the perfect Jacob deGrom. So he booked, what do you call these a bookcase book?
Bookended, yeah. And I love that, of all the people you decided you really needed to give some help to by giving the number 1 pick, you gave it to Astor.
Well, it was funny. For those that missed it, the managers did not know that I had a little bit of a curveball because it's baseball. You need to throw a curveball in. So when we did the draft order, we had kind of a draft lottery where I spun the wheel and one name came up. And then we went through and we did the draft order. And then at the end, that first name that came up, I said, congratulations. You get to swap your position with anyone. And Kidneys won the draft lottery. And so he was originally scheduled to draft 3rd. And he said, you know what, Lap? I want to draft last. And he got the 8th pick. Okay. Dallas Skyliners. Is it something? It's something else. Dallas
Skyline Sluggers, and they. I know they're really looking forward to this. So they've hinted they may throw some curveballs at us as well.
Now they went with two-way players with Cal McVeigh and with Monty Ward. 2 of their first 3 picks were two-way players, which again is an interesting strategy. It could be a very good, a very naughty strategy, or it could be a very nice strategy. A lot of tournament edition cards. That Neil Robinson with pick number 5, again a very good pick. I think this is a team that is going to get out of the first round. I don't know how much further it's going to get out of that first round because, again, pitching wise, I don't see a lot of pitchers on here that are that meta must-have pitching staff other than maybe Spud Chandler. I see as maybe their best pitcher. So I'm going to say it's not a naughty or a nice. I think it may squeak into the second round.
All right.
Kidneys and Snail Man. We always like to tease Kidneys. Kidneys such a great ambassador for the game with his sheet, his hitter sheet. He's got a hitter sheet out there. And he was drafting using Snail Man's card reservoir. So he's not participating. He's not managing. He was just the guy that came in and drafted the cards. Snail Man had no idea because he was traveling. So hopefully Kidneys is still walking straight after Snail Man saw the roster that he got. He didn't rough him up a little bit. This is I think the best lower level draft. I think of all 8 teams, I think Kidneys did the best from bronze to iron. I don't know if he's got that top end pitching staff to get him where he needs to go. So I think when it comes time to the reserve roster, it's one of the best. He's got Ozzie Smith. He's got the Mondesi. He's got the Edwin Diaz, Malden. Like, he's got some really good lower level cards. I just don't think that's going to be enough to get past that first round. So Snail Man, though, is so good at managing. He could come up with some plot twists and get him past that first round. But I'm going to predict a first round exit. So I'm going to say a naughty one here.
All right.
Izadafo, who, again, very successful in tournaments. He's been in Perfect Team quite a bit. He's won some Perfect League physical trophies. So you always got to watch out when you play Izadafo. He got the Dwight Gooden in the 11th round, which I think was just a steal, getting one of the top 3 or 4 pitchers in round 11. The Sonny Gray, again, a good pick at number 6 there, I think. So I think he's got the pitching. Hitting power-wise, he's got that Greenberg, a great card. He took Willie McCovey, Diamond Willie McCovey first. I think he picked 6th overall, and he took Willie McCovey. So that was, to me, a little bit off the board. I thought maybe he'd go in round 2 or 3. I think this is a top 4 team. I think Izadafo is a great manager, strategy-wise, slider-wise. I think he's going to get into the top 4. I don't know if it's going to win the tournament, but it's going to be competitive. So this is a nice. I like how you're asking me. He really knows nothing about the cards, but all right. Hamlet, our German representative, and I don't know if he's part of any group. Is he part of any like BBF or IBB or like TTF or anything like that?
Well, I wouldn't want to start any rumors, but I will say that he's in the TBD league this week.
Oh, he's in the TBD. Okay. So yeah, this is going to fire off.
That means he's become. So according to him, that means he's become a Phillies fan.
Hopefully not a Flyer fan, though. Keep it to the Phillies. All right. Again, pitching wise scares me with this team because other than John Denny, he's got no one above 90 in terms of his pitching, which isn't a death shot by all means. He's got the Boom Boom Beck. He's got the Bonson, got a lot of good lower level pitchers. I think this is a strong second round team. Maybe gets to the semifinals with his managerial skills. He's got some big bats with Dick Allen, Dan Bruthers, Nolan Jones with his first overall pick. So I think this is a team that second round, possibly third round, possibly semifinals. McNoosh. So you'll notice that McNoosh got a couple pitchers high up. He took Clayton Kershaw with his 2nd overall pick, Tristan McKenzie with his 8th overall pick, and then all the other pitchers are silver or below. Again, he's got Vlad Guerrero, the new tournament edition one. He took Willie Mays with the 4th pick overall, which is a steal. Even though it's a first round pick, it's a steal, getting possibly the best card, 4th overall. So any team with Willie Mays, you can't count out. As you mentioned yesterday, he's only one position though. He can only play center field or DH. This, I'm not sure what to make of McNush's team. I think it could make the second round, but it could also lose out in the first round. I don't know. This one, I'm the most uncertain about how this team is going to do. So neither naughty or nice.
All right.
Sporer went with a lot of high-end pitching. He went with a lot of diamond or higher pitching. He's got the Verlander, the Hershiser, Skabool, the second best Otani in the game after the live. We've got Giolito, McNally. For those of you that play bronze tournaments, those are two of the top 5 starting pitchers in bronze. You know what? Sporer, if there is a surprise team, the rookie, the guy that has been improving week after week after week in his tournament play. He did well in the last PTCS. He's on the upswing in the stock market here. He's my surprise team. He's the team that the other 7 managers I think might underrate a little bit, but I think he could be the surprise underdog and could make the semifinals with A-Rod and his strong pitching staff, Joey Votto tops, Harry Ford, versatility. I'm calling a Final Four for a Sporer here. So this is a nice.
One I was amazed was how few Tigers ended up on this roster.
Yes. And I agree, D-Block, like he's got a very strong lower level bronze and iron. Cabrera, Almora Jr., Ethier. So yeah, this is my, if the Vegas odds had the lowest chances of Sporer winning, I'd put $10 on this team because I think he could make those Final Four, maybe even the top 2. It's the issue I have is Sporer doesn't have I don't think a lot of experience in terms of the managerial part. He knows the cards, but is he quite there yet with the sliders and the settings and things like that to get him into that final 2? We will find out. Next, team number 8 that you can choose here is this guy, the guy in the chat. Naughty. No, I don't. Charles has a very different model from other modelers of the game. I think Charles knows the players fairly well, especially the higher, from silver up, because he's used to playing them a lot. His model accurately portrays a lot of how these guys do at the higher levels. He's got the Timlin, he's got the Lee, 2 cards that other modelers might not like because of either splittiness or they're low in one category. And first overall pick with a Hank Aaron, and you chose 7th, I think 7th overall. I think that's a steal at number 7 as well. I can't believe Hank lasted until number 7.
No, I was 2nd overall, so I had to race.
You had 2nd. Oh, okay. Maybe because I presented this towards the end, I thought it was later. Okay, it's not a steal. Okay, that's about where Hank should have went. He should have went.
No, I might have Hank steal in this era. He's got pretty good speed.
Yeah, and he plays more in one position as opposed to Willie Mays. You took Otani because, again, you were forced to change your draft strategy after some other players were taken earlier. A lot of gold pitchers, so you have your faith in your gold pitchers. I'm thinking, because I know how well you can manage a game and set your sliders and things, I think you're a Final Four. Do I think you're going to win? I think I still like Asters a little bit better. I like Izadafo. I like Sporers. So if I had to pick my Final Four, depending on the bracket, would be Charles, Sporer as the underdog, Aster, and where is he here? Aster, no, Shamley. Where is Izadafo? Those are my Final Four projections. How'd I do?
No, we're getting swept in the first round, I think.
I know. Yeah. Sorry for the 4 of you for losing out in round 1.
Yep.
Oh, that's how it seems to work. So we won't know the brackets. So everyone is on the level playing field here in terms of answering the questions. Again, it's survivor style. So I'm going to send that off in the chat. One entry per human, please. Do not try to enter more than once. And again, if you entered yesterday, you have to fill it out again because I did not have a room for your name on there. And name is kind of important when we do these contests. So there you go. I'm going to close that off at the end of the stream before it fires off and before we know the tournament bracket. Good luck to the 8 combatants. I hope we do this again at some point in some way, shape, or form. I hope there's a second invitational. And I hope we can get some of the community members. You know what I would love to see, Charles, is a lower level invitational where you can only draft like silver or below, something like that.
Well, that could be fine. Yeah.
Because then
Well,
I think
then Kidneys would just win.
Wow. Hey. I think there's a few good bronze managers. There's D Dempsey, there's D Block Dragon, there's a few of us that like our bronze and iron. So no, that would be fun if we could do something like that. All right. The other thing, Charles, that I know
Cliff Lee unopposed.
Yes. We got 6 entries so far. All right. The other thing I know you kind of wanted to bring up, you brought it up on your stream last Friday, is the form you created that can help beginners, intermediate players in fixing leaks in their roster. Go ahead and explain a little bit what this does.
Yeah. So I think often we get asked, how can I improve my roster? And I think the answer that everyone expects to get is, here's a player that you should go spend a bunch of points on and buy. And that's an expensive solution to what might not be an expensive problem. It was like the roster we were making, I think was it yesterday for the actually that still needs to fire, right? So everyone jump in the entry fee tournament.
Yes, the Sporer tournament, the what's it called? I can't remember what it's called now, but the one that's almost full.
That's almost full.
Yes.
As we're talking about, not everybody has all of the cards. And, if you're missing some cards, that's not always something that you're going to solve every single time by, kind of going and trying to purchase something. So I think you're always going to sometimes be stuck playing tournaments where you don't have every card. But what you can do is try to always at least give yourself the best chance you possibly can to win. So what we tried to do was to kind of just create like a little checklist where you can go through and just ask, have you done everything on this list? If you haven't, then probably that means there's some improvement you can make even without getting a new card.
Yeah, there's no bracket, Rob Deere and Headlights. We're just going off the 8 teams. And, unfortunately, there is no bracket till it fires off, which doesn't allow us a chance to kind of fill out the form properly. Small window there. So we're going without a bracket for all the positions here.
Yeah.
Do the best you can.
Yeah. So maybe we could do actually, if you want, we could grab a roster and try to go through it. Maybe that's one way to do it.
Or we could just ask someone in chat.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
So it should be something from a tournament we can load. So it shouldn't be a draft. It should be something where you actually kind of went and like built a roster.
Okay. So someone in chat have a tournament they're entered in, even if it's a bronze quick or an iron quick.
Fine. But it's got to be something that we can load so we can look at the roster on the screen.
Oh, okay. We got to look at it on the screen. Okay. So I guess
I assume you want to be able to show people the roster you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go into one of mine here.
Yeah, I know you play a bunch of bronze dailies. You could find someone's roster from that, maybe.
Okay. Let me just load one up here. And we can't do the deal or no deal because that was just weird settings.
No, I think you want one where you really had some control over the roster and got to build the best thing you can. Right. Okay. And because the point is, in bronze, Ozzy's going to help you. Suarez is going to help you. They're both expensive cards. Not everybody has all of the expensive cards, but everybody can still put together a roster that gives you a real chance to win.
You know what? Let's do, Charles. Let's build the roster first, and then we'll go to the checklist and see how we did. So
okay, we take one of our rosters. All right, so take one of our rosters. That
yeah. So here's a draft.
Well,
I want to win a Marianne.
You don't want to do it for a draft
win.
because I want to be able to choose, who you're putting on it.
So do it. Yeah, do a draft, right?
No, I'm saying we want one where you're getting to choose all the players on the roster.
Oh,
right? Because a draft,
okay.
you don't always get to choose.
Okay. So let's go into my bronze. One of my bronze here. Let's go into the bronze brunch.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and like I said, some of these things are going to be really easy that everyone's doing. So everyone should get at least a few points, hopefully. But some of them are kind of the more sophisticated things that become important if you want to win a bunch of rounds in a row.
Okay. So do you want to bring the checklist up on your screen, Charles? And then we can go back and forth between my roster.
Did you give it to people in the chat, by the way? Because that's also a way to.
Yep.
All right. So I'll bring it up. So, okay, I'll bring it up on my screen. If there's a way to show, I don't know if there's a way to show both.
No,
yeah, I was just trying to figure out how we can show both at the same time.
Yeah, no, we're going to have to go back and forth.
Okay. All right. And thanks also, because Isidafo kind of also helped create this and discuss it. And we were kind of thinking about it, so this is not mine alone. Nor should it be, right? There are a bunch of people that think about kind of how to play these. All right. So first few of these are going to be easy. All right. Number one, do you have 26 players on your roster? If you don't, there's a really easy fix for that.
26 out of 26.
Yep. All right.
All right.
You got it. That's one. All right. Is it a cap or not? If it's a cap, you should all right, because if it's a cap, you should be using the cap. All right. Next one's where it's going to start to get a little bit tougher. Does every player on your roster actually serve a purpose? So let's actually take a look at that, right? So the pitchers, all right, you've got 5 starters, you've got 7 relievers. You kind of have a reason that everybody's on the roster, right? Like everyone has some role that you're envisioning. And then now let's look at the position players. Okay. So you've got 14 players listed there, right? 12 of them clearly serve a purpose because you're starting them either versus left or versus right. How about the other 2? So why are Schock and DeRosa on the roster? Maybe you can tell people kind of what you see. Is there a purpose?
Well, Ray, you need a backup catcher. And now the purpose is that he's, good enough to play and possibly he should be in. And then DeRosa, just versatility, plays many positions, so can back up many positions.
Okay, so let's look. So just to check your depth chart, what are you actually doing with DeRosa? Schock, we know what you're doing. He's backing up. He's backing up everywhere else. What about DeRosa? So if you look at it, I think DeRosa, it's not clear to me actually what his purpose is. Because if you look at what you're actually doing with him, so versus righties, the only thing he's doing is backing up shortstop, right? So he's really a backup shortstop. And versus lefties, he's actually not the primary backup to anything, right? So what that means is the purpose of DeRosa on your roster is backup shortstop. That's the only real purpose. But take a look at the DeRosa card for a minute. If I told you the only reason that this card exists is to back up shortstop, would you choose this card?
No, because it's not listed as a secondary position.
You can find a different shortstop. So I think this is actually a good example of one where it kind of made sense when you were putting the roster together to put DeRosa on. Like it felt right because he's a good card. He's been in the meta for a while. He's versatile. But actually, he's not serving a purpose on this roster, right? So actually, that one is no. So one of the improvements that we're going to want to make is we're going to want to turn DeRosa into somebody that is adding some value for you.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep. So do we want to do that first?
We can do it at the end if you want, whichever way you want. Let's come back to it and we'll think about where the value is.
Okay.
Does that kind of make sense? I'm trying to make sure that makes sense kind of for people in the chat. That's the way we're
absolutely.
thinking about it is, we're not trying to be harsh. I mean, everyone's always improving rosters, but we are just kind of asking, like, I know DeRosa's a good card, but is he a good card that's actually doing something for me? Because if he's a
Right.
good card that's not doing something for me, maybe I'd rather have a card that isn't as good, but that is really, there's a good reason that person's on the roster.
And just to be clear, this is the daily bronze brunch where you cannot use special edition cards. So I chose one that I just kind of recently got into. I don't focus a lot on this one. It's a daily. So yeah, definitely going to get some input here. Rob Deer in Headlight says maybe we should just go an AI.
The AI generated team. You could try that. The AI will not do so well on this scorecard.
Yeah, I think.
But anyone that wants to try, go ahead and try scoring a team for yourself and see how you do. All right, okay, let's go on. Era and ballpark. So did you at least look at the era when setting it? And this is actually really important for the bronze because there are 2 open bronze dailies. One is modern era and one is 1934. And if you're not careful, because you want to run different rosters in 1934 in modern era, so you actually make sure you need to look at it. So here, okay, did you look at the era? What era and what ballpark? Have you looked at those?
1982, and it's a 1982 ballpark.
All right. So now good. You know the era and ballpark. All right.
Yes.
And we're going to give you a free point for this in tournament play. But if you're asking about a league roster, make sure you've actually set a non-default ballpark. Pick a park that fits your team. All right.
Okay.
So how about this one? Does your roster kind of match the tournament ballpark? Well, so let's look again at what that ballpark was, right? Because what you did is you took, I guess, a pretty balanced roster, right?
Yeah.
Well, this is a pretty balanced ballpark. Maybe the one thing is it's a little bit home run light, right? And in 1982, it's going to be a little bit more home run light also. So you probably, it's not too different from modern, but you probably don't want a ton of players that maybe all of their value is going to come from home runs, right?
Right.
Does that kind of make sense?
Which, other than Gallo, I think there's not a lot from home runs.
Yeah, so I think most of that's pretty good, but maybe the one change then that this says you might want to make is maybe we don't want to run Gallo. Maybe Gallo is a little bit better in modern where there are going to be more home runs than, than in this era. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I see Ludwig saying the key to tournaments is to get lucky. I think that's partly true. In order to win a tournament, you always have to get lucky. But there are a lot of things that you can do, and that's kind of what this checklist is about, that will make it so that even if you get lucky, it would still be difficult to win a tournament. So it's more about kind of avoiding making the mistakes you can control so that the times you do get enough luck, you have a chance to get a really good result.
Especially in the early rounds. I find that the luck is in those early rounds, but as you get further into the tournament, managerial and cards that you have, I think, play a bigger role. But that's just
and a lot of this is the stuff we're going to see here. That things like if you set your depth chart poorly, often when everyone starts out fresh, it'll be okay. And when you play a few rounds in a row, suddenly those flaws start to appear.
Right.
All right. So I think your roster mostly matches the tournament and ballpark. I think we'll maybe switch Gallo. Okay. Opener lineups. So I don't want to spend a ton of time on openers. It's its own strategy, but just a real simple check. If it's a tournament that allows openers, did you actually decide how you want to deal with them? In this case, historical tournament does not allow openers, so it's really easy.
Yeah.
Right. We don't need to get into the whole strategy or the gameplay of it, but just to say, be aware that if a tournament allows openers, you should do something where you've actually made a decision about how you want to handle an opener, rather than just kind of hope the AI figures it out, because the AI is not good at figuring it out. It will do about the worst possible thing. So you should at least make a decision about it. All right. Next, is your pitching staff large enough to play a bunch of straight games without an off day? Because this is the point, right? Round one, everybody starts rested. But, you know, is this best of 5 or best of 7? I forget.
Best of 7, I think.
Okay, best of 7. So if you go 7 games in a series, and then you go a long series the next time, you've got to be able to still
Oh, this is
survive.
best of 5. Best of 5.
Okay, best of 5. So you know, could be a few straight series that get you to that, right? But on the other hand, best of 5, it's even easier to get taken to a game 5, right? Because it's a shorter series. So the point is, you can always sweep around if you get good luck, right? That's going to happen. But your goal is to win 6 rounds, and there's basically no chance of winning 6 rounds in a row unless you actually, you know, unless you actually can play a lot of days in a row without an off day. And it's funny, I've had people tell me for a while, especially in cap tournaments, that, you know, they just don't even bother constructing a tournament roster that way. That the way they think about it is, look, to have a tournament, I have to get good luck. Part of a good luck is that you need like a really good path and everything has to work well. So, you know, I just kind of ignore it. And I figure, you know, I figure that, you know, if I don't get my off days, that just won't be the tournament I win, because it's impossible to win without off days. That's just not true if you build a depth chart well. Let me see if I can, here, I'm going to just show you an example. Here's a tournament, weekly tournament I played this week. I did lose the tournament, so I cannot actually tell you that I won it without any off days, but I came about as close as you possibly can. So just to show you that kind of it is possible. Here. So you see, we did not have a single off day. Every one of these first few rounds.
Whoa. Except for the semis.
No, we actually still didn't get an off day in the semis because the other series was shorter.
Oh.
And we came within, well, literally, we came within a 17-inning game 7 of managing to win the tournament. And
That's
the
a good
reason we
manager.
were able to do that, but the reason, yeah, well, there were a bunch of good managers in it. Yeah, we were against a good manager too. And that's, you know, but
Can you show his schedule? Did he have off days?
he must have had some, right? So he didn't have off days at the end, right? But he had a bunch of off days earlier.
Yeah. Okay.
So I can go back to sharing the other one. But the point is, you know, you should not feel like just because you missed off days, you have to give up. As long as you've built a roster, which is, you know, which kind of has a good balanced depth chart, a 26-man roster is enough that you can play over and over again without off days and still be successful.
Yeah.
Okay. So
all right. So,
you know,
so you're saying,
so the question is, did you do that? So in this case, in the 1980s, do you have enough pitchers to kind of deal with it? Well, you've got 12 pitchers. That's plenty.
Yeah, that's plenty.
All right. You can also play some extra inning games with no off days. The reason I separated those two questions is because some people run these bullpen strategies like we've talked about, you know, where you kind of run short starters and a lot of bullpen. So one is, can you play a bunch of days in a row if everything goes well? But the other is, you know, are extra inning games going to blow you up because you run out of pitchers? Okay, so make sure neither of those happens, right? The last one's also kind of important here. Your pitching staff is not larger than needed for the era and bullpen strategy you picked. Well, this is a 1982 tournament, right?
Yeah.
So in 1982, we don't really need a 7-man bullpen. You know, typically I'd expect to see people run 10 or 11. Like you saw for this Spores, you know, this invitational tournament coming up, that's set in 1987. Most of us are running 10 or 11 pitchers. So this is one where I think actually that's not true. You actually have a larger pitching staff than you needed because you're running 12. And I think one of the things we're going to want to do is take out one of your least favorite bullpen arms, maybe even 2 of them, but at least one of them. We're going to take out one of those bullpen arms and we're going to use that to get another productive player on the bench, like run another platoon or something.
All right.
All right, finally, have you set something about your relief pitcher bench settings so that they'll actually recover? Usually we set them somewhere around 80. And the reason we pick 80 is that usually if you get an off day starting from 80, you get back pretty close to full. There are some people that prefer, I've seen 78, I've seen 75, I've seen 82, but do something where they're going to recover. You know, maybe in an earlier era, this could be a little bit lower than 80 because they recover a little more quickly, for example. All right, let's go to the hitters. Do you have at least 2 players that can play every position? Well, we saw that one was true, right? We looked at your depth chart. You had at least 2 players that play every position. All right. This is the other really important one that's easy for teams to get wrong because you don't always see it until you actually have to play it. Can you play 14 straight games without an off day and still get it to work? So let's go back and look at your depth chart. Let's look at it, for example, versus righties, or it doesn't matter either way. Yeah, but I'm just looking at sort of, are there any places that we would worry? So, for example, let's imagine that Dink gets tired, right? Right now you have Dink backing up kind of both third and right. So are we worried that if Dink gets tired, and let's say Dink and Nico Goodrum both get tired at the same time, right? What's going to happen? Well, actually, that's probably okay, right? Pretty and DeRosa are going to come in, and that sort of works. So probably you kind of barely have enough, but I would be a little bit worried about the fact that Dink is sort of both the primary backup and and a starter. And you could use DeRosa in both of those places, and that gives DeRosa more of a reason to be on the roster. But the problem is DeRosa is also your only backup shortstop at the moment. So I think this one probably would work. And the reason I think it would work is that for most of these positions, you actually have about 5 players that play them. So even if everybody's tired, probably someone will be available to come in. But I would generally try to avoid using your starters as a backup somewhere and see if you still can kind of get everything to work.
Is that even the case if they're only?
Yes, but it's close. So,
is that? Does it help that, like, for example, Motho's only starting on one side of the plate, not both sides of the plate?
That will help if you face lefties, because then Motho will get his off days to recover automatically.
Yeah.
So then that will absolutely help, assuming that the person you're playing against starts some righties and some lefties. If you face 14 straight righties, then it's trickier. But I think we know in bronze that there are both righty and lefty starters on most teams. So I think
do you know the answer to this question here, Charles?
Moving a guy to DH does not rest him, but the fatigue at DH so the fatigue depends on what position you're at, and then some other factors that are either random or depend on like how much work you have to do in the game. Like if you field 10 balls at shortstop, maybe, but roughly speaking, the taxing defensive positions like center field, shortstop, catcher, especially fatigue very quickly. DH doesn't fatigue quickly. So DH, you can, you eventually do have to rest. You can't play every single day, but probably you're resting your DH, every 10th day or something, whereas you're resting your catcher every 3rd day.
All right. A reminder that I'm going to close off the forum for the guess the winner of the Invitational. We're going to close that off very shortly here. So if you want to have a chance at winning 10 standard packs, we'll award those on Thursday. 20 responses so far. You got about 5 more minutes before we close the forum off for the Invitational between the 8 combatants that Spore will be broadcasting on his show once it fires off. All right, back to.
All right, yeah, we'll go through the rest pretty quickly. Let's see what we got here. All right, do you have the bench settings for position players? Yeah, you had them at 94. Okay, sliders. Have you set non-default global sliders? Have you actually thought about how to set them? Yes. Have you thought about the tournament, like what tournament and what era you're in at all when setting them? Again, you may have decided it doesn't need a big change, but just make sure you're aware that this is a 1982 tournament. You know, just as you were, you know, the whole stream you had with Mr. Black, thinking about in different eras, some of the things that are important will change, right? All right. This next one is actually also kind of useful, and not as many people are doing it. Do you set the sliders not just globally, but do you actually have at least something different, you know, depending upon either the score or an individual player or something? You know, it's not quite one size fits all. So for example, one of the ones that I like to do, normally I hate sacrifice bunting. You're just giving away a run. But in a ninth inning, within a run, then I'm actually willing to sack bunt a little bit because now I think I'm getting some value for it. You know, or you can also, or maybe the kind of sliders you prefer setting is you go to an individual player, and, you know, most of the time you don't have a lot of people stealing bases, but maybe you've got one player on your roster that really should steal or something like that. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Next, are you starting different lineups versus righties and lefties? Yes, you are. That's very important. And this next one, I think, is actually a good way of thinking about getting everyone to do something useful. You know, ideally, all your non-catchers should be starting at least one way, because that means you really found something good to do with them. You know, if it turns out it's like one of these dead ball tournaments and you've got 20 position players, obviously you're not starting 20 of them. But like, this is the other reason that DeRosa is not helping you so much, right? Is that right now he's not sort of starting anywhere. Let's replace him with somebody that's good enough one way to start him. So Shaw, you know, the catcher is the one that, you know, can be an exception, because sometimes just your one catcher is much better than the other, right? But at least for everyone else, you're going to be able to find generally something where it's an advantage. All right, next. Are you aware of like what you expect the ratio of righties and lefties to be? So in bronze, what, you know, how many righties versus lefties do you expect to see? Like, what do you think?
I guess if I look at, you know, just the lineup I have right now, I've got a lot more righty batters than lefty batters.
Okay.
So
And similarly, pitchers, right? You're running 3 righty starters and 2 lefty starters.
Yes.
And this matters because, for example, right now in iron, a lot of people are running 5 righty starters. In gold, earlier this cycle, a lot of people are running 4 or 5 lefty starters. And that matters because you don't get to platoon every position, right? Some places, people are going to have to play both versus right and versus left. And so you're going to have to either accept a weaker player versus right or a weaker player versus left to do that. And which one's important depends. Are you facing righties or are you facing lefties, right? So here it's a mixture, but more righties than lefties. So probably your versus right lineup is a little more important than versus left, but both matter, right?
Right.
All right, good. We're almost done. Yeah. Have you prioritized your lineups versus right and versus left according to that ratio? Well, basically what that means is, so like if you go back and look at your righty and lefty lineups as an example, right? When you ran Jerry Pretty, the reason you're running Pretty is because he just clobbers lefties. If it were iron and there were 5 right-handed starters, that would be a silly thing to do, right? Because he's only on the roster to clobber lefties, but there aren't any lefties. Yeah. But in this case, you know that there are some lefties that you're seeing. And because you know you're going to see some lefties, that's why Pretty's on the roster. Okay. Finally, I see you are running. Well, okay. So that's a good question. Are you running Jimmy Ryan as a 2-way player or as a 1-way player? Right? He both pitches and hits. But you have him just as a hitter. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, good. And that makes sense. So the good way to think about it, if you're going to use someone as a 2-way player, he should be better than your worst pitcher and better than your worst hitter. And Jimmy Ryan is certainly better than your other worst hitter, but he is not better than your worst pitcher. And so that's why you don't want him pitching, right?
Right.
If he were better than your worst pitcher, then you would want to use him as a 2-way player instead. All right, and finally, this is just a good one to be aware. You should at least be aware of any of the cards that you're going to run into, but either you don't own or you didn't want to play. But just when you're building a roster, you should kind of at least know what's out there. if you don't have Ozzy, you should at least know that, oh, a bunch of people are going to be running Ozzy. This is one of the cards I'm going to be facing. A lot of people will have Suarez. That's a big right-handed power hitter that a lot of other people have. I should be aware that there's a big right-handed power hitter out there in building my team. All right, so we're done. And if we hit submit, we can even get a score. So here we go. Here you go. If you want to grade your roster from, F- to S+, and I think we filled this out as we went along. We got, let me see, 28 out of 36. All right. So we have a few things that we can fix. But we avoided the F- most importantly.
Yes.
And we have very little time, I guess, before we got to go. But if we wanted to fix it, just to go through, we can talk quickly about how we fix the things as we're going through. I think what we said is there were basically 3 changes that we would make that would fix most of this to your roster, and we could take a quick shot at like what we might do.
Okay.
So number 1, so we said there were 3 players that probably we wanted to take off because they didn't fit for one reason or another, right? You want to take off your worst pitcher because we're only going to run 11. So whoever you think your worst pitcher is, we can get rid of.
And just before we finish, I'm just
take
gonna
a Tiger off.
take a Tiger off. I don't know if I have any Tigers. All right, I'm going to close off the forum here because we're getting close to the brackets being shown. Again, Spore is on. We're going to go over to him in about 15 minutes. The tournament doesn't fire off for a little bit anyway, so no rush to get over there now. We're going to go over probably at the top of the hour. So we're going to finish off the improvement process here. If you guys have questions about specific roster
it'll be pretty quick.
Yeah. So 30 seconds. We're going to close off. We got 25 responses so far. Get your entries in. Who is going to win the invitational? Will we have? And bring up the graphic here. Will it be Kidney/Snailman? Will it be Hamlet, Aster 31, Izadafo, Warbot, Sporer, Skyline Sluggers, or I think I got them all. I think that was it. Yeah. Those are the 8 combatants. Okay. I'm going to close this off right now.
All right. 5, we can go ahead. Yeah.
4, 3, 2, 1, and closed. Okay.
We can see what everyone predicted if everyone needs bulletin board material.
Yes. All right. 25 entries. We got 56% saying Izadafo is going to win the tournament. Okay.
Wow. All right.
56.
I know who's got a target on his back.
Warbot, second most votes with 24%. So Warbot Izadafo final is what you guys are kind of predicting here. Second place.
We're going to meet in the first round now. It's going to be.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Then second place, Aster has the most votes for coming in second, followed by Warbot. Third place, we've got Warbot. So Warbot, you're looking good for the top 3. And then Spore in there with number 3. And then the fourth place finisher, it's pretty wide open there. A lot of people, including McNoosh, Dallas Skyliners, top vote getters. And 80% think that this is going to be a 6-game final. So good luck.
All right.
We'll see how that plays out.
All right. Well, let's quickly fix this roster, and then we got to get over to this.
Let's.
So I think we said there are 3 players that we didn't think were serving a purpose. One was the pitcher you took off. The other was DeRosa. And the last one was Joey Gallo. We sort of said good player, but maybe doesn't fit, an era and park that are stopping him from hitting homers. So we got 3 players that we can add. And what we want to do, I think, is we want to find 3 players that are good enough at least one way that now you can run a platoon and kind of get good value for both of them. Right?
Right.
So we can take a look at who you have, but basically we want to, like I said, it's not a question of like, do you own the perfect card? You don't always own the perfect card. But do you have some cards where you think you're getting value by adding, you get to add 3 players to the roster, and your goal should be to add 3 players where all 3 of them are really giving you some value.
So
As long as you
probably
think you're doing that, we're good.
probably a platoon for Bagwell, because Bagwell is very good against the lefties. So you probably don't want to run him both ways to be
Great.
effective.
Yeah.
No,
Let's see. Is special editions allowed in this? Was it only
No.
LEs that are not?
no special
No
edition, no
Gehrig.
LE.
All right. So how about like a Fred McGriff or a Chicken Hawks, maybe?
Okay.
Something like that. Just looking for someone that kind of hits righties, well, and isn't sort of just power dependent, right?
What do you remember what number Fred McGriff is?
McGriff, 67. Yeah, so one of those.
67.
McGriff's a little more power heavy, but he also, still gets a fair number of base hits. So either
Okay.
one.
So we're going to add McGriff. So that's one. So then we need a shortstop to back up, or to play for Woody to back up.
All right. Well, a couple shortstops to look at. We know Adalberto Mondesi is just great. Mostly one way, right? He's mostly verse right. Okay. Adam Everett is kind of another one that's out there. So Everett's, let's see, 68. Mondesi's 57. And again, if you don't have either, we can keep looking at different cards, right? This isn't about like, let's go buy the best card. This is about let's use what we have as well as possible. So see, Everett's a little better versus lefties, which is actually a good platoon partner because you're running sort of reverse righty shortstop right now. Right?
Okay, but do we run into a situation, because if I take Everett, both him and Woody Held, my shortstop, only play shortstop?
Yeah, so that would be trouble if you had a 14-man roster, right? It would be tough to fill out a full depth chart.
Okay.
But this is where getting to run a 15th card is really good, right?
Okay.
The fact that you're able to do that means you can run these players that only play one position and still get away with it. So that's actually why it's so important to only run, you can't run fewer pitchers with it you need. That's also really bad. But that's why it's really important not to run more pitchers than you need either.
All right.
Right.
So now when we go and we look at the depth chart, of course, we're putting Adam. For now, we'll put Adam Everett in there.
Everett probably will start versus lefties. You could even start him both ways. Like I happen to like Mondesi and Everett better than Long and Held and Everett at the moment, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, the point is we're going to use both of them. So if we start Held versus right, that's fine. We can start Held versus right, or put Mondesi on the roster because he plays second and short, and that gives him a purpose, right?
Okay.
And
so we
finally,
need one more card, probably a third baseman.
You know what I'd love on this roster? I'd love a big bat, because right now you're still running Bagwell at DH versus righties. I'd maybe get one more big bat in there.
Well, we got rid of Gallo, who was a big bat.
Well, my favorite big bat here would be John Jaso, who's a really big bat versus righties.
Is he eligible?
Yeah, he's just a packable legend.
Okay, so he is
you already have him. Yeah,
64.
Okay. He's listed as a catcher. He's not a catcher. He's a first baseman or DH or something. But what he is a really big bat. Yeah. Okay. I'm reading the chat now. Okay, Mr. Audit's also asking kind of where is Jaso. Yeah.
There he is.
So.
Okay.
Yep. So that's. I think if you just get all three, that's kind of what that's kind of what we're going for.
What about a backup for third now, though?
Do we not have a backup for third? Okay, well, let's see what we could reconfigure a little bit. Well, Dink plays third as well, right? So Dink can back up third one way for sure.
Or do we get rid of McGriff because we have Jaso?
I think you could play both, but yeah, I think we're, Yeah, Izidafo is saying, yeah, well, Horner's a really good solution to this because he plays first and third. So, if you were buying a card, I'd buy Horner as the solution to this, playing both first and third.
What number is
Otherwise,
Horner?
yeah, Dink can play third. I think McIntyre.
What's Horner's rating?
63, but he's one of the new cards that came out. All right, actually, I got to run because this tournament's about to fire.
Okay. All right. I will fix this up off screen, and we're going to head over to Spore, guys. Thanks, Charles, for popping in.
Oh, I
and
got
good
to
luck to
see
the
who I play in
tournament.
the first round, though. That one's very important. I have drawn.
Oh, can you bring
the
it up quick?
I have drawn the Dallas Skyline Sluggers.
Yeah, bring it up quick. Let's show our
Sure,
chat
all right.
before we head over to Spore here, what the tournament bracket looks like here in the
All right. Show a quick
Invitational.
tournament bracket. I get
Here we
Dallas,
go.
and the winner gets the winner of Astor and the Snail. We got some tough matchups here.
And on the other
it's
side
gonna
is
be
who?
fun. It's a tough tournament.
Okay. When's it fire off? How long?
First sim is in 5 minutes, so I think I should probably go.
right.
You know, do all the secret stuff. All right, I'll see y'all later.
Thanks, Charles. All right. Before we go, let's take a look at the bounty, because the bounty has fired off. It is underway. It is over in terms of who claims the bounty. So let's go through and find out who our bounty winner is. We've got the Wisconsin Winter and New York TTC on the positive side of the bracket without a loss yet. So Charles and who is this? Fizze. Charles and Fizze are in the final four. And the red shirts, the Tater Mashers, are in the final four as well. So one of those four teams will win the entire tournament. The team that knocked me out was Boise. Don't throw my win. Congratulations, Don't Throw My Win, for taking me out. First team that took me out was the Winter. So if I would have beat them, I would have made the semifinal. So I drop over to the other side, and then I faced Boise, who knocked me out. Let's take a quick look, make sure they qualify. The Tater Mashers. Yep. Looks like a bunch of starters there. And then hitting wise, catchers. Oh, they got a lot of catchers. Foley, Grimm, catcher on the card. Wow, they pretty much have a full. Let's see, is every single person here a catcher? It is. Yeah, Boise, you did well. Every single person in your lineup here is a catcher. You don't have to put a pitcher anywhere. That is amazing, chat. I don't know if I ever thought that was possible, that you could draft a whole team of catchers and fill up your entire roster. That is just incredible. I can't believe that. So no wonder that we lost out to them. Let's see what the final score was here. It was 6-2. We lost out to the Winter 6-2. And in round two, we beat the Deja Vu 13-2. And in round one, we just barely beat out Mr. Audit's undermanned roster 3-2 in round one in 11 innings. Oh, sorry, Mr. Audit. Man, usually I'm on the opposite end of this, where someone scores late in the game to tie it, and then I lose it in extras. But yeah, you had us down 2-0 in the bottom of the ninth. We tie it up, and then we take it in the 11th inning. So tough loss. It didn't knock you out of the tournament, not that game anyway. So we've got the Starfleet red shirts going up against Boise, and we got Wisconsin going up against Escape New York for the final 5 packs on top of the 3 that you get for winning within the tournament. Good stuff. Okay, I think we're going to head over to Spore. So thank you guys for tuning in. This is the Boxing Day show, and I am back on Thursday with the Hawk Report to look at all the new cards coming out. Stay tuned. Hope you join me then. Thank you guys. We're here for a good time, not a long time. So have a good time. The sun can't shine every day. We'll see you next episode.
told me something the other day. I'd like to pass it on to you. I believe what he said to be true. He said we're here for a good time, not a long time. So have a good time. The sun can't shine every day, and the sun is shining in this rainy city, and the sun is shining. Oh, well, isn't it a pity? And every year has its share of tears, but every now and then it's gonna rain. We're here for a good time, not a long time.